I say to myself, here is a classic case of the police officer, the RCMP officer, blaming somebody else. And that brings me right back, full circle, to the letter.
Well, my guest is Roger McAfee. Now, you actually said Dan McAfee's my old good friend. He passed away 7 months ago now, and I miss him. But it was funny because when Roger came in today, I mentioned him. I had no idea that they had ever had a cross. And you actually had was in UBC, it would be an RCMP officer, try and serve you with a parking ticket or something for Dan, because you're
actually,
the same English class.
I was living in Burnaby at the time, and he got his ticket on the way through Burnaby.
Well, Dan lived in Burnaby.
Yeah, well, so they ended up at my place.
And you're not even the same name.
No, well, it's McAfee is the last name, but my first name is Donald. So it comes up D.R.
Yes.
His name was Dan.
Yeah.
So you know the two guys came over, and we had an interesting conversation over that one. But as I say, it goes back to this email that got this whole thing started, and that is this guy saying, you know, he's been 20 years with the force. And it's been the worst year, most difficult year I have ever had as far as the media beating the hell out of us is concerned. Now, this encapsulates the whole problem with a 20-year man in the force. It is not a problem with the police officers, it's a problem with the media. The fact that the police officers were lying, they got caught lying, the whole structure was exposed for what it is. Now, he doesn't see that as a problem. He sees the problem that the media has been picking on them. That's a classic. And
blame the messenger.
Oh, blame anybody.
Blame the messenger.
Don't accept any responsibility at all.
So you want to see a provincial police force?
That'd be a good idea.
I want to see a provincial police force and more local police for an area like Burnaby, like New Westminster has it, like Surrey. I think Surrey should have its own police force because it's got so many problems out there. Well, and the police coming and going.
Yeah, and
every 2 or 3 years makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, my view is if you start with a provincial force, which may be easier to get going, and then slowly, you know, once your provincial force is in place and the municipalities want to take on, then carve off those guys who are working in that area and have them go there. But my view is you've got to do something to get rid of this RCMP outfit in the province. And maybe if we started here, then Alberta, although in Alberta, you know, the police in Alberta, they approve their own charges.
You've known me for 30 years, approximately.
Oh, yeah, maybe more.
Well, I'm going to say 75, so 34, 35 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm a pretty well-known guy. Would you agree with me on that?
I do.
One? Okay. And
notorious would be another word.
Well, let's say pretty well-known guy.
Okay.
I mean, I've had offices all over. I've had 11 different office locations.
Let's put it this way: you're very recognizable.
Yeah, and I've got this summer I had the last 4 years I've had 4 Cadillac convertibles with my name on the side, wandering around North Vancouver and so on. And I get stopped by the police. The big one they stop me for is no seatbelt, continuously and regularly, because these 85 and 84 and 82 Cadillac convertibles have that 2-piece seatbelt.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, they just don't, when you're my size, they just don't fit together and work on me. So I just put on the lap belt, which is perfectly legal under the seatbelt legislation.
It is.
And I actually have a copy of the Act. Yeah. And I keep on getting stopped by, and 9 times out of 10, it's a guy who's been in the North Vancouver force for, I usually say, you're obviously new to North Vancouver, right? And because I can tell, there's a difference if somebody stops you who sort of knows who you are. Yeah. And since every one of my cars has my name on the side, telephone, and most of them have my address, it's, if a cop doesn't recognize me, like when they were trying to sue me with the bankruptcy papers, I thought it was crazy because they had filed an affidavit, the sheriff's department, that they spent 2 months trying to find me. Which was, I've been in this house for 40 years, 1 month and 1 week now. They 2 months, they said in the thing, trying to find me. Anyway, that's beside the point. And then I got stopped by a roadblock in North Vancouver, caddy convertible, top down, another drinking one. And this officer never even asked me if I'd been drinking or where I was coming. All she wanted to know was, what kind of car is it? She loved the car.
Yeah, yeah.
Female officer.
Well, you don't mind that.
No, I didn't mind that at all. And I said, you're new to North Vancouver, aren't you? She says, how do you know that? And I said, because there's 4 of these running around North Vancouver with my name on it, and if this is the first time you've seen it,
yeah,
you're brand new. Anyway, I think it's happened often enough to me that I just think we should have a look. Because when I drive around Vancouver City,
oh yeah,
I get cops waving at me and honking and smiling
all
the time.
There's no question. There's no question. A municipal police force is the way to go if the municipality wants to do that. But you can't. I don't even care about that. If it was a provincial police force, at least the responsibility and the accountability is in the province.
Yeah.
Not in Ottawa.
Okay. Well, that's one step better. I agree with that.
You know, so at least it would be one step, and then within once you have a provincial police force in place, then if the other municipalities want to say, well, look, this is a good opportunity for us, as you're putting the provincial police force together, we'd like to tag along and see if we can organize ourselves within that. And what the Attorney General should do is enter into maybe a 3-year termination contract with the RCMP, because what are they going to do if he says to them? I mean, he should realize he's in the driver's seat.
Well, Cashide's the next Vancouver VPD
yeah, I know,
guy.
but he should realize he's in the driver's seat.
Yep.
If he says, you guys are out of here, they can't just walk out. What are they going to do with all the cops?
Yeah.
Where are they going to put them?
Yeah.
You know,
the police, the local force would hire more than half of them easily.
Well, as long as you make sure you don't get anybody more than 10 years, 15 years.
Well, you've made that comment. I'm not sure. See, I'm not so sure that really becomes a problem either.
Oh, yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from.
When you you don't want one of those guys in there running the show, or a police chief who's got that culture, that we protect the force at all costs.
But Jamie Graham came from RCMP, became the police chief in Vancouver, and I liked what he did in Vancouver.
Yeah, but you see, Jamie was in Vancouver, in North Vancouver, and he went from North Vancouver to Vancouver.
Now he's in Victoria.
Yeah, he didn't come from Ottawa.
True.
Okay.
But you just admitted you came from Ottawa.
No. I was there for a year.
Oh, you were just there for a year.
Between the time I graduated here.
Where are you from?
Northern Ontario. I went to, my last high school was Sault Ste. Marie, then I came to UBC.
Really, at the Locks, eh?
Yeah, and then but my family, the last, where we were all together as a family was in Elliott Lake.
Okay, because Dan McAfee is from Ottawa. Oh, no, actually, Dan McAfee, his brother's in Ottawa. Dan, I guess, was Prince Rupert. Yeah.
No, I was.
If you were in Elliott Lake, then Alan Thicke was there.
Yes.
Dr. Thicke.
Well, Dr. Thicke was our family.
Brian Thicke.
Was our
Brian
family,
Thicke was your family doctor?
doctor.
Well, Brian's an old friend of mine.
And he developed he developed an interesting thing. They always used to, not always used to, but sometimes sponges would be left in patients.
In operations. Yeah.
And being in Elliott Lake, he figured a way to make sure that didn't happen. So what he did was they put a little piece of, in effect, encapsulated yellow tape.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
then they would take a Geiger counter and just pass it across.
Over the top of the guy, see if there was a sponge in it.
Yeah, and he came up with that.
I love it. I've never heard that story before. Yeah. And I've known Brian since, again, 1974, 75.
Yeah, I was...
and his son, Todd Thicke, used to live in this house
for
5 years.
You know that Alan...
Alan, yeah. And Rod Allen lived here lots of times, too,
But the interesting, that was an interesting, very interesting place.
I used to use his waterfront place in Santa Monica, and I'd be going in to use it, and Wayne Gretzky would be walking out, or I'd be walking out, and Wayne would be walking in. And Alan, of course, was the best man at Wayne Gretzky's wedding.
Interestingly enough, Elliott Lake it's a big retirement community now. But I just found out a little while ago that they named the street there after my dad.
Oh, really? Isn't that cool?
Yeah, my dad was there right through we were there from the start, then I went out to go to school, but he was right there till he retired.
How about that?
It was a
fun I don't know. Maybe you got something more you want to talk about, or should we wrap this up?
No, I'm happy with this. I see this as a potential problem when you have police forces that have that kind of culture, and I think that somebody should do something about it, and at least talking about it is a good way. And the other guy that you'll have to get in touch with and chat with at some point is this guy, Mike Webster.
Okay, we'll do that. Maybe are you going to come back with Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. I've been talking to Roger McAfee about problems with the RCMP and justice in general, and you've seen it on Ingram.